Alright, so in today's video I wanted to talk about my camera bags, what I would really recommend that you look for in a camera bag, and some of the mistakes that I would think that you should avoid when you're looking into buying a camera bag or anything that you want to store your camera in. When I first started, I had a drawstring bag at one point and I threw my camera and a couple lenses in there. What I ended up doing is I ended up chipping a bit of paint off the camera in some places, and that did actually bring the value down when I later on sold that camera off, and it was just kind of a bummer because I bought that camera brand new and it was in perfect condition until that. And so I would really recommend getting a proper camera bag, or just finding a solution that you know will isolate the individual components so that your lenses can sit separately rather than rubbing against each other, because that can be really bad. At that point, the next thing I invested in was a proper camera backpack, and I bought a pretty cheap one. I think it was like $50, and it wasn't great and it was pretty small, but at the time I was on a Micro Four Thirds system, so everything just kind of fit in there and it was fine. And it was nice to be able to strap the tripod onto the bottom as well, but that was always just a bit cumbersome anyway. And so eventually what I decided to do after carrying so much equipment in a backpack was I decided to consolidate my gear. I sold off some stuff and I moved to just one camera body and the vintage lenses that I had at the time. And so at the time, all I had was just the Sony full frame camera body that I bought used for super cheap, and I just had a few vintage lenses. And that was great because it forced me to keep a very small carry, but I needed a camera bag that could actually take advantage of that. And so what I eventually bought was a sling bag. So moving from a backpack to a sling bag was super helpful for me because it just forced me to carry less gear. I mean, really, it's just so helpful to not have as much gear, to not have as many choices you have to make. It just simplifies the whole shooting experience and everything's just easier in your mind. So one of my favorite things about having a camera bag like this is to either use a neck strap for my camera and throw it around my shoulder, or I have a carabiner here and I'll sometimes clip that onto some of my tripod plates to just hang my camera off the side. But that way it just frees up a ton of space in my bag to store just a couple of different lenses, maybe one or two other lenses than what's already on my camera. And so it kind of forces me to keep my kit slimmed down that way, and it keeps my camera out and available nearby for when I need it. And then that way I don't miss anything. And so I end up still carrying my camera, but then I have the bag for just a few extra lenses and accessories and maybe a water bottle or whatever else I need for the day. And for anyone that actually cares, this is a camera bag I bought off Amazon from a brand named Ulanzi. This one's been awesome and it's worked pretty well for what I've needed it for. One of the nice things is that it has a material that's sort of like a waterproof material, so it's really nice to just repel that water and if it's raining or whatever, and it just protects your gear. This is really nice because I know that there were definitely times in the winter when I would go to have to set my backpack down and it would just get soaking wet from the snow. And that brings me to another point actually that's really awesome about sling bags, is you don't have to take off a backpack and sling it around and try to find a place to set it. You can kind of just let this hang at your hip and just let it hang off your front, and you can just dig in and you can switch lenses right above it and do whatever you need to do with your camera. This makes your gear just a lot more accessible when you need to switch lenses quickly, change out, maybe put on an ND filter, or really anything you need to grab. It's just right there and you can change really quickly without having to take a bag off and set it down on the muddy or like wet ground if you need to. As someone who's shot outside in the elements a lot, this has been a big problem for me, especially in the winter with my camera backpack. And so that's kind of the current camera bag solution that's been working for me lately. But my biggest piece of advice to you would be to use your camera bag to help you to stop overpacking. Try to reduce your carry and try to simplify the gear and the kit that you're bringing with you so that you can focus on getting better quality results and having a little bit more fun during your shoots. This helps to keep the whole shooting process just a little bit simpler, which just makes it a little bit more enjoyable. So that's all I have for you in this video. Hopefully you found something here useful. Otherwise, that's all I have for you today. So have a great day and happy shooting.